time, waiting for the acolyte. I am gonna catch that fool. You will think I'm really cool. All I wanna do is impress you with my mouse trap. All I wanna do is convince you with my cheese. All I wanna do is be the coolest cat here, but I'll need some more super breed. Just watch me, mouse. Just watch me catch you. Just watch me, mouse. Just watch me catch you, catch you, catch you. All I wanna do is impress you with my mouse trap. All I wanna do is convince you with my cheese. All I wanna do is be the coolest cat here, but I'll need some more super breed. Oh, but I need some more super breed. Oh, but I need some more super breed.
Hello, MouseHunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday. It is February 13th. It's a Friday the 13th, which could be an unlucky day, but fortunately we have our lanterns to keep a luck bonus going. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. Max, bright and early in the chat there. Yep, yours truly today. No Jacob today. Welcoming in Tarako. Was looking forward to getting some ideas for Lunar New Year, plus hopefully some info on upcoming events. You know, I think that's maybe what we'll go over today, actually, so you're in luck. Max, looking forward to lots of events on the horizon. Indeed, the birthday event is coming up next. MouseHunt is going to be celebrating its 18th birthday. If you can believe it, 18 years of mouse hunting. KDM, welcome on in. Cute in the chat there. Have I had my coffee yet? I'm working on it. I think I'm on my second cup. Let's take a sip. Sounds like a fantastic idea to me. Sean, well, a happy Valentine's to you as well. There are some lovely trap skins that we brought back that had kind of been around over the years. I know we retired the Valentine Matchmaker event. It was always a little tricky to run it at the same time as Lunar New Year. There'd be some overlap, but not always overlap. So it posed a little bit of a challenge there, but we did bring back some of those heartfelt skins, some of those favorites. I'm actually looking for a red envelope base, eh? Yeah, that sounds like a fun idea. I don't know quite what we would do to fit that in. I mean, it could be a fun sort of collectible base, so to speak. But you know, certainly the shape is right. You know, an envelope is shaped as a base. It's a fun idea. Peter, welcome on in. Well, happy Friday to you as well. Tope, nice to see you. Good morning, Trevor. Audrey, welcome on in. Diamond, hello. Trevor asking, why was Murray removed as a stockpile location? So that was I think 2 years ago. Memory doesn't quite serve me well there, but we did remove that previously, and the Artisan Charm didn't quite work well with it being a stockpile location, and so just over the years we tend to get some feedback and some complaints about the Artisan Charm not working correctly, and unfortunately we had some technical limitations that prevented the Artisan Charm from seamlessly working with the way Murray Market works. So, you know, in light of that feedback, we removed it as a stockpile location. Dallas, welcome on in. Howdy to you as well. Diamond, Larry's getting old, eh? I mean, Larry's got to be older than 18 years old. He's a friendly knight. He's been helping the king and assisting in many adventures, even maybe before the Scourge of Mice were released upon the kingdom. It's hard to know for sure. Kyle, welcome on in. Paratube, you are looking at the maps. Yeah, the maps are in a bit of a unique spot. I mean, treasure maps aren't a great fit for all events, and I think maybe Lunar New Year is one of those events as well where it's hard to work maps into it in a meaningful way. Just kind of the focus of it is elsewhere with the luck and the loot bonuses, and the event-specific mice kind of take a little bit of a backseat to that. The main focus is hunting in just areas as you normally would. Actually, hunting the non-event mice is kind of the main focus of it. Whereas you take something like the Great Winter Hunt, and there's there are phases to that as well, but there's a set of event mice that are the focus of the sort of end goal you're looking to hunt. So, my advice would be, rather than the Lunar Lantern maps, they're just there as a little boost to your dumpling collection during that phase of the event, is take on any other map in the game. If you are, let's say, I don't know, in the beanstalk, that's a great place to use loot multipliers, because you can get a whole lot of beans to drop at once. We'll start doing a beanstalk map, that sort of thing. You can. The nice thing about the event is it takes place everywhere, pretty much everywhere in the kingdom, so that opens you up to doing the majority of non-event maps are very applicable during Lunar New Year. Morning to you as well, Tarako. Max, you're looking for a skin. What are you looking for? The Mouse Deathbot Trap with a magical hat. Magical holiday hat skin. We already have the party hat. Give us a magical hat. As in a wizard hat? Is that what you're thinking? Like a pointy blue wizard hat type thing? That'd be fun to work in at some point. I mean, the Archmage's Trap has a few pointy hats. So if you're using Arcane, you can maybe scratch the wizard itch there. Welcome on in, Jason. We'll be sharing a roadmap of events and content. Maybe not so much a roadmap, but we'll take a little bit of a look ahead at what's coming after Lunar New Year. And I think kind of as the events take shape, maybe closer into the spring, we'll have a little bit more visual stuff to be sharing on maybe what's going to be coming in the summer. But other than that, I thought I'd check in, see how everyone's Lunar New Year is going as well, see what questions and feedback come up in the chat, in new edition of everything that's already come up. Which stockpile location are you using? We added the cliffs as a new stockpile this year, which was a little bit different than the other stockpiles, and that's the only one where you don't use store-bought bait, or standard bait, if you will. I can even take a look maybe in the last 7 days. That's probably not a good metric there. Let's take a look. Even just the last 2 days. Let's see what the most popular area in the game is. And in the last 2 days, Conclusion Cliffs is the most popular area. Floating Islands is a close second. I'm going to say it's tied. It's a difference of 0.2% difference in popularity, but Forward Farm is in third. The Afterward Acres, fourth. Draconic Depths is in fifth. And the Beanstalk, Queso River, Epilogue Falls, Valor Rift, Table of Contents, Prologue Pond. It's a nice even spread here, like a lot of kind of 3 or 4%. But the most popular in the game right now, we've got, over the last 2 days, 14.5% of players have at least taken one hunt in Conclusion Cliffs or visited the cliffs in some capacity. Lady Nutsy, welcome on in. Good morning. Thank you for the coffee emoji. That'll cue another sip. Kyle says you can always do a shelter map. I mean, you could. I don't know if the Huntington's a particular great place to be using the luck or the loot bonus, but it may come down to your individual setup and your goals. It may depend. Mike Gio, welcome on in. Good morning. I haven't been on one of these since Feed Bake Friday. Well, welcome on in. It's been a while then. MX is hunting in the river. Oh, the Queso Cannon Storm Base. That's a nice piece of limited edition equipment to bust out in that stockpile location. That sounds good. As well as the cliffs for a few mallets. Yeah, you'll get a few mallets in the pre-raiding phase. It's not the best place to be collecting mallets, but you can kind of work on two goals at the same time that way. Or often too, if you just need one or two, you're oh so close to having enough to do whatever sort of run you're about to do in Conclusion Cliffs, then you can hang out for a few hours in the pre-raiding phase and pick up a few extra mallets. But if you're looking to amass dozens of mallets, using some of the higher tier cheese is probably the best way to go about that. Or it's Lunar New Year right now. You can get double and triple drops. If you can get to the postscript where the hammers are more plentiful, it's a good time to be using some candles as well. Kyle, you're in the Huntington for your candles. Now it's no time for stockpile locations. You're using Dallas is using their stockpile of candles from previous years to focus on Ultimate Mythweaver. That's a good way to go as well. You may have some leftovers from last year. It's a nice thing about an event repeating as the years go by. Maybe there's a year that you don't have any particular urgent or pressing goal that you want to pursue at that particular moment. Well, then you can always collect a little bit of cheese and candles and think, well, maybe next year then I'll be able to get off to a good head start. As you can see down below, I'm in the living garden right now. I'm kind of raising my lantern, getting my luck bonus charged up a little bit before I visit the Ultimate Mythweaver. I did set up a 100% fantasy run to hunt out during Lunar New Year. But I'm raising my lantern in the living garden. Adding a few living chests to the collection is always a good idea, at least for me. Fool Journey, it's not the case, but any chance we get a relaunch of the Steam Augurbot 3000. The last limited edition is just that. Limited edition equipment does not come back. At least we have no plans to change that. It's kind of been how the game has operated for many, many years. So, but then we do kind of, every now and then, we'll revisit a limited edition idea and we'll reimagine it back in the game. But those moments are a little few and far between. But some things come to mind, like the Ultimate Iceberg base. An alternative permanent version made its way into the game. The Gift of the Day base as well was originally limited edition event base, but it became a staple and that was added. Non-limited edition variant of it. The hothouse base and the living base, those are two. One's limited edition, one is very similar but non-limited edition. So it happens, but a little few and far between. Tweety Driver, you've been at the falls for the last 2 days to get the first tier turtle trap. Excellent use as well. Get those pearls of wisdom doubling or tripling. Even plot hooks are pretty good as well. I know I set up a falls run myself and kind of candled my way through that. Tarako Stockpile at the cliffs, and then Lantern working on getting old silvers needed for difficult loot. The Fort Rock's Mythical Giant King and the Shattered Mice, etc. There you go. That's a good use as well. Max asking for a non-limited edition Queso Cannon Storm base. Maybe one day, never say never, but no immediate plans at least. Like I said, it's a little few and far between, but it's definitely kind of something that we keep our eye on. It's a little tough to push it to the top of the priority list, but it does happen. Cutie asking, any plans for quadruple loot in the future? I think triple's good. I think Lunar New Year is in a great, great spot. I think it's a very fun, rewarding event. It's best short and sweet as well. One of the things I love about it is how it just synergizes with so much of the game. Every year it's like a brand new event. If there's a new area, if you have a different goal in mind, you get to play Lunar New Year in a different way. It really is, I don't know, it's one of those events that I just find great. It's a really strong event in my opinion for just that reason. It feels fresh every year because there's new ways to utilize it every year. That said, quadruple, I don't think we need quadruple. I think it's in a nice spot. We've got 2 tiers of candles, which adds a little bit of extra choice making as well. Where do you utilize the red candles? How do you sort of manage those more limited resource? How do you utilize the white candles? It comes into kind of every hunter can tackle their strategy in a slightly different way and make different choices. Kyle's sitting here at the stockpile collecting candles. May as well hunt here for shelter. The Galleon Gouda is hard to find. Sometimes 300 pieces isn't enough. The shelter is a tricky one. It is rare for the sake of being rare. There's a few mice like that, and I think it's fun to have a few in the game like that, as long as there's not too many. They might lose their sort of identity. Krista, you used red candles in the floating islands, and you've upgraded your Oculus twice to level 8. Well, there you go. That's a good use as well. Floating islands is a good spot for it. Anywhere you can build up some loot multipliers, I find you get a little more bang for your buck. You can stretch those candles a little bit further. Max, use Ember Charm to hunt the Mythweaver. Not bad, too. You can kind of go all out with power that way. Paratube, you're using your lantern for double loot in the Draconic Depths. Search for the Mythical Dragon Heart. Yeah, that's definitely an exciting item to get to double. I mean, your Replicart will already double it as well. So, I mean, It's extra exciting that way. In Afterward Acres for double planks, Epilogue Falls for the double pearls as well. You're working on that trap upgrade. Peter, you agree on the event helps a ton with some of the tougher ingredients in chasing silvers. That's a good point as well, Kelly. In order to speak to that point, you can use the event in so many different ways. I think that's what's interesting. You can ask 10 different hunters, what are you going to do during Lunar New Year? And you may very well get 10 different responses, and they're all exciting. They're the correct response for that hunter. They're all equally excited about those 10 different responses. And that puts a smile on my face, or at least I think that's a good signal that it's an interesting event because there's so many different ways you can utilize it and different things you can look forward to about it. Kyle is using the event to get some rainbow diamonds for the base, but it's going to be really hard. It is a long-term goal as well, and certainly nothing new to the game. Some of those long-term goals, especially where you have to amass a large number of things, you go and you work on it for a little bit. You might take a break, go work on a little other goal. It's nice. I feel like that makes the events feel a little bit more fun as well. In the back of your mind, you have a long-term goal you're working on. So, the event shows up and you may resupply yourself a little bit. And then when the event ends, go back and chip away at it a little bit more. Or depending on the event, something like Lunar New Year, you might use some of the supplies you gathered during the winter hunt. Well, now I'm going to save them and use them during Lunar New Year. You can get a nice cadence going that way. Some feelings of anticipation and different things to look forward to. Zach's asking for any chance for a event extension, and the very next message is Kyle thinks 2 weeks are perfect. It is a very rewarding, impactful event as well. I think 2 weeks is a nice sweet spot. I think it's the type of thing. It's left short and sweet, but not so short that you feel that you might miss out on something if you're a little bit busy that week. That's always the trade-off. The shorter an event is, the increases the likelihood you might be a little bit busy during that event, and you feel like, I gotta wait another year for the event to come around. But that's also what makes events a little bit special at the same time. So it's a give and take, I suppose. Andrew in the chat has 700 elemental cheese. I used it for trying for the heart and no luck. Well, look at all the other loot you're getting at the same time as well. And if jackpot loot isn't quite your cup of tea, there's certainly some hunters who enjoy that style of area. One nice thing about the game is every area can have a little bit of a different reward structure, have a different mechanics, different blend of passive versus active play. If you get to the cliffs, you can get a dragon heart using the diamond. So if you prefer something where I'm going to save up a whole bunch, I'm going to stockpile all these supplies, and then I want to spend a very long time depleting those supplies and have a very predictable outcome to a long-term goal, then you might look to the cliffs as a source of getting a mythical dragon heart. It might take a little bit longer, but it's kind of the slow, steady method, if you will. So we add a little bit of variety for hunters who want a little bit certainty. You like to dig in and dig into the grind and watch the progress bar move closer to 100%, and you like to see it move forward in a nice steady fashion. You don't like ups and downs, you don't like highs and lows. Then the cliffs is a nice spot where you can kind of buckle in and watch it make slow and steady progress. QD in the chat asking, how do we get the ingots? It wasn't in the news post, really. Well, it is one of the gift items, so you have to ask a friend to send you one of those ingots, and you can return the favor as well, pass them around a little bit. It's always interesting at the end of the event. See, how many ingots did I get? Because I tend to, when you receive one, you might just return it. Every once in a while, you might end up in a loop. You and the same friend are returning ingots back and forth, but you can watch your collection grow a little bit. Hollow is using red candles on the artillery commander. Shows up a bit early. 2 to 4 times per run. Be done early next week. Warpath is a good pick as well. Michelle, welcome on in. Forgot it was Friday. Well, happy Friday, Michelle. So I had a busy week. Tried a sneaky strat of the anniversary ambush on min luck on the warden. So far hasn't had the effect go off yet. The anniversary traps, and they're coming up to 8 years old now, with MouseHunt about to celebrate its 18th birthday. Yappy's doing the Valor Rift, using the red candles on every eclipse. Yeah, that's kind of, again, the interesting choice. The red candles are a little bit more something you need to manage and save for a special hunt, and that's nice. You can kind of find those impactful moments. Can you put elemental cheese Bible with diamonds, eh? I'm trying to remember. If you do shatter a diamond, it has quite the variety of items that may come out of that. I can't remember if Emmental is on the list off the top of my head, but there might be an indirect way to do it. I could be mistaken, though. Tease the future event, says Zach. Well, there was a little bit of chat about the birthday. Maybe that is a good segue to look ahead a little bit at what comes after Lunar New Year, and a little bit beyond there as well. We've got a couple events, a couple, predictable or routine. Those are both kind of boring words, I guess, to utilize them. Expected, anticipated, highly anticipated events. That's a more exciting verbiage and adjective to use. You're going to be able to, the Super Brie factory is returning March 3rd. This year, you'll be able to tour the factory to celebrate MouseHunt's 18th anniversary or birthday. We tend to use those two terms somewhat interchangeably. It's a good opportunity to restock on some Super Brie, as well as the anniversary aura is a popular item or popular aura that comes back once a year and that you can earn during the birthday event, as well as Super Tokens Plus. The vending machine will see an update this year for the 3 new areas in the Folklore Forest. You'll be able to get some new flavors of cheese out of the vending machine, or ingredients involved in making cheese is usually what's involved in the vending machine, as the theme of the birthday event is all about cheese, or primarily at least about earning cheese, whether it's Super Brie or another type. The Pipe Brunch, the Pipe Party game, will be coming back as well. That was quite popular last year. That will be updated also to incorporate some of the new types of cheese from the Folklore Forest region into the Pipe Party game. Another update with the birthday event this year is we were able to change how claiming the crate works. So if you can recall, this might have helped to pull this up, but we'll probably demo this or preview this in another Feedback Friday a little closer to the birthday coming out. Well, they'll be here before you know it, eh? When you have to pump the cheese to fill the crate, and then you capture Vincent, and then you claim the crate. Now, previously, you couldn't begin to pump another crate till you came back and claimed it. And so, sometimes that might happen in the middle of the night. You're fast asleep. You went to bed 2 hours ago, and then your pump is full. You wake up, it's like, I got to claim it before I start pumping again. We're able to change that so you can queue kind of one of those crates. You come back, and your next crate will begin pumping, even though you haven't claimed that crate. But you don't keep one going, so you will need to claim that crate before you can finish pumping the second crate. That gives you a nice large window of opportunity to come back, claim that crate without kind of allowing a few pieces of precious cheese to go to waste, or wasting any potential opportunity that you could be pumping your next crate. That's coming on the 3rd. On March 24, you grab your excavator. The popular spring egg hunt will be coming back. At the moment, we have 12 new eggs. The art team has been cracking on 12 excellent images of some exquisite new eggs, primarily, as you might guess, to fill out the Folklore Forest region with the 3 new areas and the acres, the falls, and the cliffs that were added, but also a few other fun surprises as well. Some new interface eggs, as we call them. You'll have to kind of find them. They'll be hidden somewhere throughout the game. You'll have to navigate through the interfaces and click the type of eggs you get to claim once a year. You just have to kind of find where they're hiding in the game UI. Beyond the spring egg hunt, we are currently working on a treasure map for the acres, the falls, and conclusion cliffs. We've also been doing a little bit of ideation around potentially a grand tour map, but we'll probably share a little bit more information when we get a little bit further along there. But we're trying to find a good identity to have all the various maps throughout the region feel unique, and then try to find something that'll feel fun and appropriate for a grand tour map as well. At least the type of thing. Maybe you'll do it a few times for the challenge of doing it. But we're kind of still workshopping that, so we're not 100% certain whether we'll do multiple maps, but there'll be at least one map to cover the acres, the falls, and the cliffs. Ultra Brie when? Max, I think that was an April Fool's post we put up many years ago. We introduced new Ultra Brie and I think some sunglasses. Super Brie putting on a pair of shades with a little laser show going on in the background. So it'd be fun to dig that image up again. Actually, I haven't seen that in a while. Michelle's excited about 12 new eggs. I can say at least. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure all of the illustrations are complete. I'm pretty sure. And eggs always look pretty neat and pretty cute. We'll probably share a few teaser images of some eggs when the spring egg hunt gets a little bit closer, as we are kind of thinking ahead 3 events into the future here. Might be a little too soon to start thinking about spring, especially here. It has been below freezing, I think. We've had maybe only a few days where it's gotten above freezing this year. So I feel like it's a little too soon, at least for me, to be thinking about spring. That'll be a bit too much of a tease. I think I'm done with this chilly weather. I'm looking forward to the thaw. Draco loved the pipe party game. Yeah, it's a little bit of a thinking exercise sometimes. It reminds me of the Snowball Showdown. Sometimes you're looking at the boards like, wait a minute, what are these shapes? And then you finish it like, oh, that's how those shapes were. And the pipe party game has a little bit of that as well. Like, how possibly am I going to connect these? And then when you finish, it's like, oh, that's how it worked. Okay. Xanther's liking the change to the, I assume, the crate. Yeah, that was a good thing. I was happy we were able to pull that off. Max is taking a wild guess at the ultimate Mythweaver will have an egg. It certainly would be consistent when you think. Most of the big game mice, the bosses, if you will, tend to have an egg themed after them. So that would certainly be consistent. I wouldn't be surprised to see that egg. Moxie's saying, I'm going to ask a weird question. Maybe I should read this before I say it out loud then. Any future plans for trap upgrades or something to spice up traps other than the chrome upgrades? No immediate plans come to mind. I mean, like a new trap component or something like that. I'll walk the line between there being a good variety and things feeling a little bit different or evolving, especially as you progress in the game. You can unlock new ways and new strategies. But we have the base, the weapon, cheese, charm, and auras are all kind of playing a role. And the golden shield as well as another kind of trap component, or at least going into affecting the outcome of a hunt. But from there, I think how we've tried to add some variety or make things feel a little bit different or new things to kind of learn, new challenges to understand and overcome is within the areas themselves. They might have something unique, whether it's bottled wind, condensed creativity, or just, a resource you need to manage specific to that area, and you can choose when you want to utilize it and when you don't want to utilize it. Give us a hint. Is there a mallet egg? I think a little too soon to give any egg hunt hints. That's 3 events away, so we're looking ahead a little bit. The further things are, the less specific detail to go into. Maybe we'll think of it that way. Cutie noticing the line at the bottom as well, and yes, something we are working on is investigating the skies above Rodentia. And I'd imagine as spring arrives, we'll have some more stuff to share in regards to that. But the folklore forest has, its storyline has come to a nice moment of conclusion or closure. Never say never, whether a villain may resurface in the future with a new plan and have to be thwarted again. But we've reached a nice moment of closure in the Mythweaver storyline, especially with the law power type. Feels like a good way to bring the Mythweaver to justice and put an end to the Mythweaver's plan to rewrite history and write the hunters out of it. And so now we're exploring some other storylines, and one that we are exploring right now has to do a little bit with the Sky Pirates. There's a lot of Sky Pirates in the game as well, and there's some unanswered questions about where are they coming from? Where did these raids originally launch from? What might be going on there? And what other loots might there be to find that the Sky Pirates might be hoarding or looking to heist it for themselves as well? So that's kind of the next storyline that we're picking up to continue along. Jacob was drawing that egg last week. He did. Did he do 1 or did he do multiple eggs? I was a little busy last Friday, actually. I didn't tune in. Usually I have Jacob on in the background and glance over every once in a while. I believe he did one of the barrel-themed eggs, and you might be able to guess which of the folklore forest areas you might find a barrel-themed egg. Kyle, is there a rift opening? There is a little bit of ideation. The rift storyline is not done, but it's one we have to pick back up. Carly's saying that the pipe party game had a way to replace an existing square with a four-way intersection. It may not be feasible. It certainly could be, but I think it bends the rules a little bit too much. I think some of the charms of the game, to kind of feel a sense of challenge when you're solving a puzzle, you need to be faced with limitations. And, being able to replace any piece with a four-way pipe would kind of feel like it would take away some of that puzzle solving you have to do along the way. So, if anything, just using a few wrenches to reveal some more of the board kind of is a similar effect of, kind of lowering that fog of war, so to speak, to be able to figure out how to solve the puzzle. And it's a way to spend resources to move towards solving the puzzle, where being able to replace a piece with a four-way, that would be kind of another resource that you have to manage. It would add that kind of level of complexity of which do I do? And I'm not sure it quite needs it. Bassie asking for a way to even out the attraction rate and the postscript. Well, you have all the tools at your disposal, and all three tiers of cheese help you do that as well. But it's definitely risky if you add a genre to the book that you're hoping not to encounter. And definitely the most risky strategy there is to put all 5 genres into one book and hope you capture equal amounts of all 5 mice. Odds are that's not going to happen. So every hunter has to kind of decide risk versus reward, and that limitation is, I think, crucial to kind of making those decisions matter. Or a way to phrase it, you can't feel the thrill of victory without the threat of defeat. So adding too many things would remove that threat of defeat and make all your other choices meaningless. The slow, steady, almost guaranteed way to go about it would be doing probably 1 or 2 genres every run. As soon as you start to mix in a third, probably makes sense, but you're introducing a little bit more risk, and every hunter gets to decide how much risk are they comfortable taking during each fantasy run. Do you go risky to try to go fast, high risk, high reward, or do you do fewer genres, so you go slower and steady, kind of low risk, low reward? You kind of pick which style sounds good to you. Max, will we ever get to know how and where the droids are made, eh? I'd always assumed Digby, the scientists of Digby, must have some sort of hand in that. But come to think of it, there's not a whole lot of droids in Digby. But that was often the narrative. Those scientists at Digby, they were just pumping out endless inventions. If you comb through enough descriptions, you'll see them mentioned quite often. On that note, should we look at the trivia here? We've been looking at the birthday. This week's trivia is birthday related. And as often happens, it's a bit of historical trivia here. It's a way to look back on the game's history in a fun way. How did MouseHunt celebrate its first birthday? This would have been in 2009. 17 years ago. Time is passing, in case you haven't noticed. Starting to understand the days are long and the years are short. It's starting to kick in a little bit. The longer, the more you zoom out. That expression starts to make a little bit more sense every year. You celebrate the birthday in the office. No doubt we did. No doubt we did. That is kind of the downside of remote work. You don't have the same sort of spontaneous camaraderie get-togethers and celebrations. You got to kind of plan them, schedule them in advance. You can take for granted, well, we'll all be in the same place at the same time tomorrow anyway. Well, no, you got to plan ahead to get everyone in the same place at the same time. Rocco wasn't around. No, it wasn't the nanny bot. You're close. That was the second birthday. The Terrible Twos mouse was introduced, and the nanny bot was around as a way to capture that mouse. Caught rats in the office, says MX. I don't think we ever had a mouse problem in any of the offices we were around, and we were in some older buildings now and then, but surprisingly, no, we never came across any rodents or evidence. You usually see the evidence of the rodents before you find the rodent itself. Something tips you off. There might be a few dots of something on the ground. It's like, uh-oh, that's not good. I think Cutie might have went to the wiki. The 2009 event featured the first appearance of the birthday mouse, which resembled an elf mouse with a party hat and a cake. Indeed, we did repurpose the elf mouse. Art resources were a bit scarce at the time. It was an endeavor to add one more mouse, was often a big ask at the time. Michelle, there was a giveaway. That's part of it. I'll say there was a giveaway. The birthday mouse was involved as well. But here's a little hint. I got an item at the bottom of the screen here that was involved in the very first birthday event. I do believe its illustration was redone at some point, because that looks a little bit more modern than 2009 art style in the game. But that is the fancy birthday gift, and there was something inside there that that became a silly yet iconic trap for a little while. Para asking, what can we buy with ideas, germs, and wisdom? You can buy paper. Cash giveaway people fought over, eh? Yeah, it is interesting looking back. We kind of thought no one would ever play this silly game on Facebook where you catch mice, and so the original kind of design of the game was meant to be sort of a giveaway, sort of novelty thing that we thought would be fun for a year or so, and then it would probably fizzle out. But we were wrong. People enjoyed the game more than that aspect of it, so that kind of changed the direction of, made it a much larger, grander game. We're getting closer. There we go, Yappy, with the hit grab horsey, which when it takes that long to get the correct answer, not gonna lie, I start to assume I'm probably wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. But I will put the link in the chat for your clicking convenience. But indeed, their birthday mice were on the loose. They dropped birthday gifts and fancy birthday gifts. And the fancy birthday gifts were a little more rare. And when you found a fancy birthday gift, it did contain the hit grab horsey. I think it may have also had the polar base in it. And I think it even had the birthday base in it. It was a gift box that had a weapon and 2 bases in it. I don't know if that has ever happened again. Hit grab horsey or polar base. Birthday giveaway took place from the 7th to the 9th, offering $5,000 in cash prizes and 10,000 Super Brie in prize. There was a giveaway as well. Cutie, you are correct. I think that is the original birthday cake base. So it's like pink frosting with red kind of piping on it. Oh yeah, the polar base. That polar base was a big deal for a while. I think the magma base came along and dethroned it for a bit. We went from ice to fire being the base everyone was sought after. Yappy, when you got a hang of how luck works in MouseHunt, it had you using your old hit grab horsey, and it was as effective as the enraged rhino bot. Yeah, luck, don't underestimate the power of luck, especially when you can get enough luck to never miss. Again, then power becomes irrelevant at that point. But until you can get to that point, power plays a big role as well. No more stale cheese was huge back then. Yep, there is some Super Brie in that link. I thought as it being birthday related and we looked ahead to the Super Brie factory, I think Larry thought Super Brie would be a good trivia reward. Oops, wrong. Kyle, you remember doing some surveys for a little bit of Super Brie, eh? Magma Base 2.0. I don't know. I think maybe you could call that the Molten Shrapnel Base. It kind of had a bit of a Magma 2.0 vibe. That was a important one. I think everyone was asking for something to do with all their extra scrap metal. And the Molten Shrapnel Base was born. Para, can we have an extreme and ultimate version of the cactus charm, vacuum charm, and the lantern charm, and the energy charm? No immediate plans. You have to maybe clarify what some of the motivation to see those are. But, it kind of depends. As we sort of revisit the areas, we might find a space for that. But some feedback we had over the years is as the number of charms grew in the game, it became harder to remember what they all do, where to get them all, and what makes them all special. So we tried to distill that down. We tried to find a nice balance between the existing charms in the game and just kind of recategorize them a little bit. There's still a pretty good variety. You could definitely argue that it's still a little hard to remember where do they all come from. But we tried to distill that down to some kind of core charms and then have them interact a little bit. Ancient charms and spore charms. Your ancients turn into rainbows. Spores you upgrade to ultimates, then you can combine them into Rainbow Spore, and then the Rainbow Spores are kind of upgrading. So kind of a bit of a hierarchy where they're all created, they're special in their own way. And the goal there is, as the game progresses, as you kind of reach new hunting areas and you rank up what you might consider your everyday, sometimes we call it a burner charm. It's the charm. I have a lot of this, and I kind of arm it when I don't need a huge boost, but I want to have a charm armed for a bit of a boost. That kind of evolves and changes over time. When you first start the game, it might be your run-of-the-mill luck charm that you can buy from the charm slot. Or the charm shop. That's the one I'm regularly using. But as you kind of progress in the game, that becomes not as relevant. You begin to upgrade your tiers of charm. And if you do a lot of maps, an ultimate ancient charm, you might have thousands of them, and that becomes your quote-unquote burner charm that you have armed. And a higher tier is the one you use when you need a little extra oomph. Kyle, the polar base was so strong and I missed it. It does show how limited edition has been kind of a core part of the game's identity for 18 years. So it's a tricky thing to change after that much history has passed. It's not a decision to ever make lightly. So it's the type of thing we kind of stick with, that being the identity of the game, and try to find a happy medium where we can. So. Any plans for excess dragon hide sliver? You've got over 1 million, it's starting to overflow. You can turn them into dragon veins, and you can take those dragon veins, you can sell them on the market to make gold, and you can take that gold to purchase whatever you like off the marketplace. So that is one nice thing about tradable commodities. There's kind of trade-offs, and there's pros and cons to something being tradable, but if you ever feel like you have too much of it, you can sort of liquidate it into gold and then hopefully then turn it into something you actually would like. So. Well, hunters, that might do it for me today. For this feedback Friday. Again, important reminder: Lunar New Year is going to come to an end on February 24 at the usual, I believe, 3 p.m. UTC. It's 3 or it's 4. I'm kind of drawing a blank with one of the two. But the same time Feedback Friday starts. That's the time we typically update the game. So that will be the day on which Lunar New Year comes to an end. So kind of parse that as you don't have the entire day of February 24, depending on your time zone. It will come to an end on February 24. You will no longer be able to collect cheese. You'll no longer be able to collect candles. You'll no longer be able to light candles. And for all intents and purposes, the event is gone. The only thing that you can do is claim unclaimed rewards from the reward track. Things in the shop also stick around if you want to pick up any of the trap skins that are available during Lunar New Year. They'll stick around for one more week. But as soon as you claim everything off the reward track, the interface for Lunar New Year goes away. For all intents and purposes, you won't even really see Lunar New Year on the screen other than some items that are available in the shop there. And then after that week where you have to just make sure you've claimed your reward track, claimed your adventure reward, all that good stuff, the Super Brief Factory will be opening up. That's March 3. That is the following Tuesday. So you can look forward to the Super Brief Factory opening up a week after Lunar New Year ends. It's been a long time ago I was using Super Cactus. Cactus charms were bread and butter charms for a while, weren't they? Hey, it looks like Curse Diamond just unlocked the horse journal theme. That's a good one. You can see it around me here too, in case you're curious what it looks like. Got it framing the camera there. Well, have a fantastic weekend, hunters. Happy hunting. Thanks for joining me. I'm trying to think next week. Yeah, I think it'll be Jacob. Actually, I am off next Friday, so I don't think Jacob is, but in case he is, then there will probably be no Feedback Friday. But I think it will most likely be Jacob joining you next week. Have a fantastic weekend. Happy hunting.
Such a beautiful you. You're the master of the mausoleum. Look at me, barely at level 3. I am begging for a piece of gold. All the mice, all the terrible mice that you naturally attract to caught up in the crazy game. Look at me, barely at level 3. I just know I'll never be the same. All the mice, all the terrible mice. If I had my way, I'd catch a ton. I wait with a trap and a bait, but they ain't biting on a single one. I'm waiting on a mouse today. Anyhow, it'll be just fine. I may not be a hero, babe, but I'm willing to give it a try. I'll lay my trap by yours, and you will be my scars, and I won't care at all because I'm there. You are there, so we are there. You are there, and I am there. I'm waiting on a mouse today. Anyhow, it'll be just fine.